I've never done this, but I did have a roommate in first year university, and she would, so her boyfriend was unemployed or working some weird job that wasn't sustainable or whatever. Regardless, so she would drive him home every morning, come back, and then she would use our like grocery foods to feed him. So like if there's like a package of 5 sausages, she would make 3 because he's really hungry and he whatever. It got to a point where she actually dropped out of school. This poor girl was so cute and
It's not only the big back girls, the overweight girls, the ugly girls, it's also the pretty girls. It's the girls that are tall. They look like a model. They look like the standard of beauty. They're skinny, right? They're slim, thick. They're the BBL chicks. They're the strippers. They're the nurses, right? They're the models. They got good jobs, good six-figure jobs. Yeah, they take care of guys. They'll bring their paychecks to their boyfriend, to their husbands, to make their husbands or boyfriend feel like they're the man, that they're an alpha, right? And so you'll see this guy using the card for dinner, but it's really her money, right? It's her money. The ring that you see on her finger, she bought the ring, right? So it's all for like appearances. It's all for like, I want to hype my man up, but you're really the man in the relationship, right? You're the one that don't have the self-esteem. You don't see yourself as the prize. You don't see yourself as the one that has value because you are out here taking care of a man, putting him on a pedestal, basically chasing him, right? So, yeah, pretty girls, they do find themselves in these situations, right? So, that's why I say all comes down to self-esteem, not looks. Anyways, let's keep watching.
so smart. She just was enamored by this guy who was just sucking her dry and like you know I just remember like she'd be down there cooking and then they would set up and me and my other roommate, because we had this three, it was a townhouse kind of thing, but me and my other roommate, we were just watching this being like, what do we do, what do we say, and eventually we did have a sit down conversation with her, but for some reason she didn't hear us as coming to her as women. She heard us was as like attacking her and her boyfriend, and she's like, well, it's not that big of a deal, it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, well, if it's not that big of a deal, then maybe he can put some bread behind this. Of course, she ended up feeling alienated, and she left. I haven't thought about her in like at least 15 years. The self-esteem was so low on her face and everything. And when I tell you she was beautiful, she literally could have been a model. And you know what? They do say that. I mean, like, I struggle with it too because I'm like super stunning and gorgeous, but like you let someone like that get into your head and make you feel like you have to jump through all these hoops, and if you're not used to being treated kindly, oh boy, oh me, I've been guilty of this so many times. But if you're not used to being treated kindly and if you don't know what boundaries are.
I get so mad at myself because I remember the time when I was in college, I used to take like Ubers to my boyfriend house, and this guy, he was way older than me, not even attractive, wasn't even taking me out on dates anymore, wasn't even buying me flowers and gifts, making me feel special. And, he even had the nerve to ask me for a threesome multiple times. That's what ended our relationship. Um, but yeah, this guy was very unattractive, very unattractive. And here I am, this 5'7", slim, pretty girl, you know, in shape, is here chasing after this guy. Like, I was, as I'm looking back, I'm just so mad at myself because it's just like, what were you thinking? But my self-esteem was so much in the toilet, right? I connected sex to love. I connected a man saying nice words to me to love. Now, don't get me wrong. I wasn't just falling for any guy, right? But the guys that did get to me, I really felt like they loved me, right? And I felt like I gave so much of myself and I got back so little. But never again. Learn from this, ladies. Learn. Do not make these mistakes. Whether you're pretty, you're ugly, you're not so attractive, you got a big back, do not let a man get you so just stupid. Don't let him get you like this, Just don't.
When that man says he's gonna leave you because you're not cooking eggs in the morning, you jump 2 feet 10 toes down. That was weird. You accommodate things that you probably shouldn't, is what I'm trying to say.
Giving their boyfriends their work checks.
Unfortunately, this has been happening for a long time. I have experience of this. I was married in 2002. My son came along in 2004. I had been with my ex-husband then for 2 years previously. A year into the relationship, we moved in together into a place outside of hospital accommodation, which is where we were living at the time. And we opened a joint bank account, perfectly normal. Everybody does it. We opened a joint bank account because we had household bills to pay, and we decided it would be good if they were all in one place. The original idea was to split the bills and put that amount of money from our own bank account into the joint account. Absolutely. Started to get to the point, once we had gotten married, that he was like, maybe we should just get paid into the joint account. That'd be easier. Then we can transfer out.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get married and you have a fiance, please talk about finances, religion, household responsibilities. I'm sure there's way more to talk about, right? But finances and how you expect to separate finances and the responsibility of each partner, right? Because a lot of men, what they'll do is they'll come off as this, I'm this equal partner, you can count on me, right? And then once you're married to them, that's when they'll show you the true them, right? And that's when they'll try to be sneaky and get you to do things you normally wouldn't do, right? But now that you're married to this guy, you feel like, oh, I trust him, blah, blah, blah. I am not going to think this through. If he says this, I'll just go through it because it's my husband and it makes sense, right? But I'm pretty sure if she was single and she told somebody, hey, does this sound right? They would have been like, oh, no, girl, don't do that. Right? Anyways, let's keep watching.
Stupid here, didn't think anything of it. So that's what we did. Then my son comes along and the attitude starts to change a bit. And I would have to start explaining what I needed to take the money out of the joint account for. I was on maternity leave, but I was still getting paid. So I was still putting money into the account, but I was having to sort of justify why I needed it.
This is why I want to get my own bag and keep my own bag, because a lot of times when you go ask your man for something, you gotta justify it, you gotta explain yourself, or he's saying, hey, I gotta pay bills, I can't do that right now, or hey, I gotta do this, or hey, you can wait, or you can just get one thing this month and you can get the rest down the line, right? Nobody wants to do that. Like, if you're working hard for your money, you don't want to have to come to somebody else and ask them, can you use your own money, right? Or money that's for the family, right? You don't want to have to feel like you're a child, right? Or you're like inferior to them, right? And they're the only one that know how to handle the finances, right? So, ladies, just have your own bag. And if you don't have your bag, please learn how to get your own bag, learn, because you don't ever want to be in a position where you gotta keep asking somebody for something. It's the worst position to be in. And then on top of it, there is a power imbalance, right? Because that person could put you out on your ass at any moment if they feel like it. So it's very dangerous, very, very dangerous. And I don't recommend any woman to do that. Anyways, let's keep watching.
And I don't mean for like household bills and food and things like that and, the general things that babies need. I meant that if I wanted something, I'd get questions about it and I'd have to sort of justify why I needed it. And my ex-husband would start saying things like, well, I don't mind you spending on things, but I want you to have something to show for it. Meaning that he thought that what I was spending money on was like frivolous and things like that. And it wasn't necessarily. It was just, I wanted some clothes, or I wanted some new makeup or something like that. It wasn't just stuff that didn't, that just disappeared or, was an unnecessary purchase. It was just the stuff that I wanted. But anything that I bought was then deemed by him to be not worthy.
Who the F does this guy think he is? Like, is he God? Is he almighty for him to be telling his wife what she can and what she can't get because it's not valuable enough to him in the household? Mind you, she's working, like she deserves partial amount of that money, especially if there's money left over after the bills. She deserves to treat herself once in a while. Like who are you, sir? Who are you? And they only show this side after sometimes like they get married. Like some of them they're bold enough to show you before the marriage if they feel like they got you emotionally. But look at this crap, y'all. Look at this. My granny always told me have a bank account that a man is not aware of, right? Always keep a account that he's not aware of. Period. No matter how much you think you in love with him, da da da, always keep some money aside that he doesn't know about, because things can flip at any moment.
Of it, and he'd get annoyed if it wasn't something he deemed to be, something to show for it. So he would sort of then, if I wanted to go shopping, it was like, well, you can take this amount of money out of the account. And I was back working at this point, and I'd be like, but that's my money. Yeah, but you're not very good with it. And I think that a lot of the fact that this is still happening shows it can be two things. It can, first of all, in the more sort of minor way, but then becoming more of a major problem, it can show that, these men, not all of them, I am not saying that before anyone comes to me or comes for me, not all of them, but these men in particular that are doing this, that are taking the paychecks, are scared of independent women.
Yes, that's why a lot of women, like the ones who make a lot of money, they don't want to date a guy that makes a lower wage, because these guys, they're insecure, they'll try to knock you up. They'll try and do things that are abnormal to get you to pay attention to them, so you lose your job, or you lose your promotion that's coming up, or you just get behind to the point where they just transfer you, they fire you sometimes, they punish you, so he can feel like he's the man, right? So he feels like he's needed, right? Because they don't want you to get so high in the clouds where you finally see like, okay, this guy, he's not all that. He doesn't really add anything to my life. He's not, making enough money. I don't really need him. They don't want you to realize that. So what they'll do is, yeah, they will try to knock you down, um, and lower you, so you don't feel like you're all that, right? So they feel like they're the prize in a relationship, right? And you have to chase them, right? So that's all it is. She's right. Let's keep watching.
And they want to turn them into like the non-independent women, obviously. But the other more the more dangerous problem is, not that isn't a dangerous problem, but that can be a more dangerous problem, is this is what starts off financial abuse. And it happens slowly in a lot of cases, where you don't realise that you're being financially manipulated until it's too late.
Ladies, be careful. Any relationship you are in, you should have your own bank account, point blank, period. Because sometimes you won't notice it. You won't believe that this person would really do some stuff like that. But they'll do it. They'll do it. Men like to feel needed, and the moment they don't feel like they're needed, they can be very abusive, erratic, and impulsive, and very strategic. So be careful.
I the beginning of the end of my marriage came from me waking up, and when I went back to work properly, when my son was older, was a little bit older, was about a year old, because I wasn't allowed to take any more maternity leave than that because that was deemed as not worthy. But I went back into full-time employment, and my ex-husband stayed at home and worked part-time, which he hated. I categorically refused at that point to get paid, because it was a new job, into the joint account. I said, no. I said, I'm going to be paid into my account and I will put the money into the joint account. And I kept it like that. And then other things, but then I became more independent. Then I wanted to go back to college, and then things started to happen, and he decided to leave because he didn't like the way things were going.
Yes, he didn't like the fact that she was gaining back her independence, right? And that the veil was being removed from her eyes, and now she can finally see clear again. He didn't like that. He didn't like her autonomy. He was like, oh, hell no. She doesn't want me to control her. She wants to have her own financial independence in the relationship. Oh no, my male ego cannot handle this. I have to go at once because you won't allow me to be the man and control you and tell you what you need and what you want. Child, please. Anyways, y'all, let's keep watching if you still here. You know what to do.
But yeah, kudos completely to the girls like this, and to anyone like this who is having to give their partner, or is learning from the fact that, from giving their partner paychecks and all these kind of things, and has decided, nah, this is the way I'm going to stay. Because I think that those people are doing the best thing that they can.
Anyways, y'all, subscribe and like for more of my rants.